A kitchen full of food may hold enough calories to last for days. But when the power goes out, a lot of it can't become a real meal when you need it most. That's why these 12 no-cook foods you'll need in the months ahead matter far more than most people realize. A box of crackers contains nearly 2,000 calories. A 16-ounce jar of peanut butter provides more than 2,700 calories. And a single MRE can deliver anywhere from 500 to 200 calories in one ready-to-eat meal. Number 7 contains as much as 40 to 50 grams of protein per 100 grams. Number 4 solves a digestive problem that very few people prepare for. And the number 1 spot only proves its true value when every other plan falls apart. The item at number 12 may seem like the most ordinary one on the list, but it makes almost every other food much easier to eat. 12. Crackers. By the second day of a power outage, a lot of people realize something surprisingly ironic. The kitchen is still full of food. There's rice, pasta, canned goods, even meat in the freezer. But without electricity, without a stove, and with no idea when life will get back to normal, most of that food suddenly becomes much harder to use. That's when a box of crackers that costs only about $3 to $5 starts to show its real value. You open a pouch of tuna. The first few bites are fine. A few more bites later, you start slowing down. Not because the tuna tastes bad, but because it's hard to keep eating just one food by itself. Then you grab a few crackers, place a piece of tuna on each one, and take a bite. It's only a small change, but it feels completely different. You no longer feel like you're just eating to stop the hunger. You're eating a meal. That's also why crackers are included in so many military MREs and emergency food kits, not because they're the most nutritious food. On their own, crackers don't provide enough protein or fat to make a complete meal. Their greatest value is their ability to bring other foods together. They turn tuna, soup, beans, or peanut butter into meals that are easier to eat, easier to portion, and much less repetitive. When it comes to storage, they're also a very smart choice. With a moisture content of only about 2 to 4%, crackers last much longer than regular bread. A 16-ounce box of saltines can provide nearly 2,000 calories while weighing only about 16 ounces, and they require virtually no preparation before eating. As long as the package stays sealed and is stored in a cool, dry place, many varieties will keep for 9 months to well over a year, while products like pilot bread and hardtack are designed to last even longer. What's interesting is that people don't eat with their stomachs alone. We also eat with a sense of familiarity. A can of tuna sitting on the table can make you feel like you're just getting by. But once that tuna is placed on a cracker, your brain is much more likely to see it as a real meal. In a stressful situation, that sense of normalcy can be just as important as the calories you're taking in. The biggest mistake is buying the same crackers you enjoy as an everyday snack. Soft crackers loaded with butter, cream, or fillings tend to absorb moisture quickly, break easily, and have a much shorter shelf life. If your goal is to build an emergency food supply, stick with hard crackers like saltines, pilot bread, or hardtack. They may not be the tastiest crackers on the shelf, but they're the ones built to last the longest. And if crackers are the foundation that helps turn food into a real meal, the next item on the list delivers something your body needs even more when it's working non-stop. A highly concentrated source of energy packed into just a small handful. That's why it ranks even higher. 11. Canned fruit. By the third day of an extended power outage, the first thing that wears many people down isn't necessarily hunger. It's having to keep eating the same foods. Crackers, jerky, tuna, canned beans, they all fill you up. But after a few days, your taste buds start to shut down. You know you need to eat, but every time you open another can of savory food, it feels a little less appealing than before. That's when a can of peaches, pineapple, or fruit cocktail starts to prove its value in a way that very few people think about. Not because it's a main meal, but because it helps your body want to eat again. In a prolonged emergency, maintaining your appetite can be just as important as having enough food stored away. If you look at the nutrition, a typical 15-ounce can of fruit sold in American grocery stores usually costs around $2 to $4 and provides about 200 to 350 calories, depending on the variety. But the real value is in the liquid inside. Each can typically contains about 100 to 150 milliliters of juice, along with natural sugars and vitamin C that can provide a quick energy boost after your body has been active for hours. It's not a complete source of nutrition, but it's one of the few foods that can provide both fluids and carbohydrates at the same time without any preparation. Very few people realize that the liquid in the can is part of the meal too. Many people open the can and immediately pour it down the drain because they assume it's just packing liquid. In reality, if the fruit is packed in fruit juice, that liquid still contains water-soluble vitamins, natural sugars, and water that you already paid for. When clean drinking water becomes more valuable than usual, throwing away 100 milliliters of liquid out of habit may no longer be the smartest decision. There's also a psychological factor behind it. When stress drags on, the brain uses more glucose, and your appetite often drops. The mild sweetness of fruit doesn't just provide a quick source of energy, it also stimulates your taste buds, making your next meal easier to eat. That's why many emergency food relief kits around the world try to include a variety of flavors instead of focusing only on calories. The most common mistake is choosing cans labeled heavy syrup just because they're cheaper or taste sweeter. The thick syrup significantly increases the amount of added sugar without providing much more nutritional value. When you're shopping, take a few seconds to check the front label or the ingredient list. Products labeled packed in 100% juice or 100% juice are usually the more balanced choice if you're storing them for emergencies. Canned fruit also pairs well with several of the other foods on this list. Mix it with cold-soaked oats for a simple breakfast, or eat it with a few crackers to change up the flavor after days of eating nothing but savory foods. But while natural sweetness can help bring your appetite back, it still can't keep your energy steady for hours at a time. If you want your body to keep going throughout the day, you'll need a food that provides a much more lasting source of energy. And that's exactly what's next on the list. 10. Instant oats. When the power has been out for days, the first thing to run out isn't always food. It's usually the fuel needed to cook it. The propane tank starts running low. The battery-powered stove dies. That's when a lot of people realize they ruled out one food, simply because they assumed it always required boiling water. That food is instant oats. Unlike what many people believe, instant oats can be prepared using the cold soak method. Just add cold water, seal the container, and let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. The oats will soften enough to eat without ever turning on a stove. This isn't some social media trick. Hikers and campers have been using this method for years to save fuel and reduce pack weight. What makes oats so valuable isn't just the convenience. 100 grams of oats provide about 380 calories, nearly 13 grams of protein, and around 10 grams of fiber. A large bag of instant oats at Walmart typically costs about $4 to $6 and provides enough for more than 10 meals, bringing the cost per serving down to just a few cents. But the most important number isn't on the price tag. Because oats contain beta-glucan, they have a low glycemic index, or low GI. Instead of sending your energy soaring and crashing like many sugary cereals, oats release energy slowly. helping you stay full and alert for about 4 to 6 hours. When you're cleaning up after a storm, waiting in line for supplies, or traveling for long periods, that steady source of energy is often much more useful than a meal that fills you up for only a short time. Oats also provide something that's hard to measure with numbers. After days of eating crackers, canned food, and dry rations, a bowl of soft oats feels comforting, like a normal breakfast. In a crisis, that sense of familiarity can also help people stay calm and maintain regular eating habits. The biggest mistake is thinking oats are only useful if you have a stove. As long as you choose instant oats, you can combine them with peanut butter, canned fruit, or nuts to create a balanced meal without cooking. But no matter how long-lasting carbohydrates are, your body still needs one nutrient that it can't store for very long. That's protein. And that's exactly why the next item made the list. 9. Nuts mixed. Nuts. Lightly salted roasted nuts. You have to leave your home and fit everything you need into a single backpack. Water, medication, flashlights, and clothing have already taken up most of the space. At that point, every ounce of food has to prove its value. That's when nuts become especially valuable. Just 100 grams of mixed nuts can provide about 550 to 600 calories, almost the equivalent of a full meal, while taking up no more space than a handful. Compared to many canned foods, they're lighter, don't leave behind bulky packaging, and can easily be divided into several small portions throughout the day. Most of those calories come from fat, along with protein and carbohydrates. That makes nuts a great choice when you have to walk long distances, carry heavy loads, or don't know when you'll be able to eat a full meal again. They don't replace water or a balanced meal, but they let you carry more energy without making your backpack much heavier. Another advantage is how easy they are to use. You don't have to finish the whole bag at once. A small handful can be mixed into oats, eaten with canned fruit, or enjoyed by itself while you're on the move. A common mistake is buying the biggest bag to save money and opening it over and over again. Air, moisture, and heat can cause nuts to lose their crunch and develop a rancid smell much sooner. A cheaper bulk bag isn't really a bargain if the rest goes bad before you can finish it. Choose smaller bags, portion-sized packs, or resealable zip-top packaging instead. Lightly salted varieties are usually the more practical choice than heavily salted ones, especially when your drinking water is limited. Nuts pack a tremendous amount of calories into a very small amount of space, but when you don't even have time to stop and eat a handful, you'll need something even faster. That's where number 8 comes in. 8. Protein bars. In many emergencies, what you're short on isn't food. It's a few minutes to stop and eat. You might be driving out of a blackout zone, standing in line for emergency supplies, or spending hours outdoors. Your body starts to wear down. Your arms feel weaker. But sitting down for a proper meal still isn't an option. That's when a protein bar serves its purpose. It wasn't designed to replace a full meal. Its real value is helping you buy more time until you can finally stop, rest, and eat something more substantial. A typical protein bar provides about 200 to 250 calories, along with 10 to 20 grams of protein. About the size of your palm, and usually costing around $2 to $4. It can stay in your jacket pocket, backpack, or vehicle storage compartment without taking up much space. The difference between a protein bar and nuts comes down to speed. Nuts work well when you want to eat small amounts throughout the day. A protein bar comes in a single ready-to-eat serving. You simply open the wrapper, eat it in a few minutes, and get back to what you were doing. But not every product labeled protein is actually a good choice. Many contain large amounts of added sugar while providing relatively little protein. They may give you a quick burst of energy, but they won't keep you going for very long. When you're shopping, look for bars with at least 10 grams of protein, around 200 calories, and an ingredient list that doesn't start with syrup or sugar. Avoid chocolate-coated bars if they'll be stored in a vehicle or another hot location, since they melt easily. A protein bar is a solution for a short gap, not the entire journey. If the situation lasts for several days, your body will need a more natural source of protein, in larger amounts, and one that's easy to divide into multiple servings. That's the next item on the list. 7. Jerky beef jerky, turkey jerky. After hours of traveling, you may not feel truly hungry yet. But when it's time to lift your backpack, climb a flight of stairs, or carry a case of water, your muscles start running out of strength much faster than usual. That's when protein becomes important. Long before refrigeration existed, people dried meat to take with them on long journeys. The basic principle hasn't changed much since then. Remove most of the moisture to create a lightweight source of protein that doesn't need refrigeration before it's opened. About 100 grams of jerky can provide 40 to 50 grams of protein, along with 300 to 350 calories. Many sealed products have a shelf life of 1 to 2 years, depending on the recipe and storage conditions. Compared to canned fish or other processed meats, jerky is lighter, easier to portion, and much more practical when everything you own has to fit into a backpack. But that advantage also comes with one clear limitation: sodium. Salt helps extend shelf life and improve flavor, but eating too much of it can leave you even thirstier. If your drinking water is limited, a bag of heavily salted jerky can create another problem instead of solving one. Jerky won't make you stronger overnight. What it does is give your body the building blocks. It needs to maintain and repair muscle during days of constant physical activity. A common mistake is looking only at the protein number on the front of the package. Some products contain more sugar, salt, and flavorings than they really need. Check the ingredient list and choose products that list meat as the first ingredient, contain less added sugar, and have a reasonable amount of sodium. Tender jerky is a better choice for older adults or anyone who has difficulty chewing. Resealable zip-top packaging also makes it easier to divide into smaller portions without exposing the rest to air for too long. You can eat jerky with crackers, wrap it in a tortilla, or pair it with soup to add carbohydrates and create a more complete meal. But even having enough protein, fat, and carbohydrates doesn't automatically give you a convenient meal. The next item is what brings them all together. 6. Tortillas. Imagine having nothing in front of you but a can of tuna, a can of beans, and a few pieces of jerky. Each one can fill you up, but if you have to eat them separately day after day, you'll get tired of them very quickly. Add just one tortilla, and everything changes. The tuna becomes a wrap, the beans become a filling. Even the jerky can be turned into a complete meal instead of 3 separate foods. Many people think tortillas are just another type of flatbread made from flour. But in an emergency food supply, their most important role isn't providing carbohydrates. They're the connector that turns separate ingredients into a real meal. When foods are combined, meals become more varied and much easier to keep eating for days without getting tired of them. That's also why tortillas are so common on camping trips, long-distance hikes, and in survival kits. Flour tortillas are soft, easy to roll, less likely to crumble than corn tortillas, and still taste good cold. A package of 8 to 10 tortillas typically provides around 1,200 calories and usually costs about $3 to $5 at most grocery stores across the US. Lightweight and compact, they're one of the easiest ways to add carbohydrates without taking up much room in your backpack. There's something interesting about how the brain experiences a meal. Feeling full isn't just about calories. The shape of the food makes a difference too. A wrap with a filling inside feels much more like a complete meal than eating each ingredient separately from different packages. During stressful times, simply feeling like you're still making a meal can lift your spirits. Tortillas also solve a very practical problem. In many emergencies, you don't have a table, you don't have a place to wash your hands, and sometimes you're eating in your car or outdoors. The tortilla keeps everything wrapped inside, making food less likely to fall on the ground, less messy to hold, and less likely to go to waste. When every serving counts, saving every bite is an advantage. The most common mistake is choosing corn tortillas just because they're cheaper. They tend to crack after sitting for a while, and usually aren't as good cold as flour tortillas. You should also avoid storing them in damp places or leaving the package open for too long, because the tortillas can easily stick together. Choose flour tortillas instead, and if the package isn't resealable, transfer them to a sealed bag after opening to help keep them soft longer. Tortillas pair especially well with tuna and beans, peanut butter and nuts, or jerky to create quick, compact, and more balanced meals without any cooking. But even with a more complete meal, there's still one very important piece missing to make everything easier to eat, easier to digest, and easier to sustain over time. That piece is liquid. 5. Ready-to-serve canned soup. By the third day of an emergency, your body often changes in a very different way. You're no longer as intensely hungry as you were on the first day. Instead, you feel tired, low on energy, and no longer interested in chewing or eating dry foods. That's when a can of soup can become a meal that's easier to eat than almost anything else in your backpack. During prolonged stress, your body doesn't just burn through energy. Your ability to eat changes too. After losing sleep, working too hard, or staying under constant pressure, many people begin to lose their appetite. A meal that's warm or cold, soft, and easy to swallow is often much easier to handle than crackers, jerky, or foods that require a lot of chewing. It's not because soup is more nutritious. It's because your body is more willing to accept it when you need it most. That's exactly why ready-to-serve soup is a staple in so many American emergency pantries. A typical can provides about 200 to 300 calories, while also containing roughly 200 to 250 milliliters of broth, along with vegetables, salt, and varying amounts of carbohydrates or protein, depending on the variety. At around $2 to $4 a can, it's one of the few foods that provides both energy and additional fluids in the same serving. Here's something many people don't realize. Not every can of soup has to be heated. Ready-to-serve varieties, or soups labeled "Do not add water," can be eaten straight from the can if you don't have electricity or a stove. That makes them a much more practical option when you only have a few minutes to eat before moving on. A bowl of soup offers more than the calories listed on the label. After several days of eating nothing but dry foods, having something with broth can help your body feel less drained and make the meal much more enjoyable. In a crisis, being able to finish a meal is sometimes more important than choosing the most nutritious food that you don't even feel like eating. The most common mistake is buying condensed soup without paying attention to the directions. That type of soup requires additional water before it's ready to eat. If your water supply is limited, you may accidentally turn a convenient meal into one you can't prepare properly. When you're stocking up, choose ready-to-serve varieties with pull-tab lids so you won't need a can opener and can eat them whenever necessary. You can also crumble crackers into the soup or eat it with canned beans to make it more filling while keeping it easy to digest. But as good as soup is at helping your body recover and making meals easier to eat, it still can't provide enough protein if you need to stay healthy for several days in a row. That's the gap the next item on the list fills. 4. Canned beans. What happens when you still have plenty of food, but haven't been able to use the bathroom normally for days? In an emergency, it's a much more common problem than most people realize. After several days of eating crackers, instant noodles, candy, and other starch-heavy foods, your body may still be getting enough calories, but not enough protein or fiber. You get hungry again more quickly, your energy becomes unpredictable, and your digestive system starts slowing down. That's why canned beans are one of the most balanced foods you can keep in your emergency supply. Very few inexpensive foods provide plant protein, carbohydrates, and fiber all at the same time. Depending on the variety and size, a single can of beans can contain about 350 to 400 calories, nearly 20 grams of protein, and around 15 to 18 grams of fiber. That combination helps keep your energy steady and keeps you feeling full for hours. When you don't have to keep looking for something to eat, it's also easier to stay calm and avoid burning through your emergency food too quickly. But the most overlooked benefit of beans is the fiber. When your eating habits suddenly change, fresh vegetables become scarce, and your water intake drops. Constipation can quickly become an uncomfortable problem. A can of beans doesn't just provide energy, it also replaces the fiber that's often missing during an emergency. A common mistake is buying only dried beans because they're cheaper and have a longer shelf life. The problem is that dried beans require water for soaking, time to prepare, and fuel to cook. They're great for long-term storage, but they're not always practical during the first few days of a power outage or when water is limited. Choose low-sodium varieties with pull-tab lids whenever possible. Canned beans are already cooked, so you can eat them straight from the can. Mix them with tuna, add them to soup, or wrap them in a tortilla. At this point, we have almost everything needed for a complete meal. But the next protein source is the one stocked by more families than almost any other, and one small mistake when buying it could leave you with less food than you expected. Jerky 3. Pouched tuna or salmon. A family has only a few minutes to leave their home. As they pack the last of their supplies, they realize the canned fish they stored is too heavy, and the can opener is somewhere in the dark kitchen. That's when a small, tear-open pouch of fish suddenly becomes much more valuable. Pouched tuna or salmon is one of the most versatile, high-protein foods on this list. Each pouch typically provides about 17 to 20 grams of protein, along with 80 to 100 calories, enough to help restore your energy without any cooking. After several days of relying mostly on rice, pasta, and crackers, your meals may still provide enough calories while lacking essential amino acids. The result is that your body gets tired more quickly, your ability to concentrate declines, and handling difficult situations becomes harder. Fish helps bring your meals back into balance, and salmon in particular usually contains more omega-3s, DHA, and EPA than most types of tuna. When every decision matters, a clear mind is just as valuable as a full stomach. The biggest advantage of the pouches is portability. They're lightweight, flat, easy to pack, and create less waste than metal cans. You can eat them in your vehicle at a temporary shelter, or while you're on the move without needing a stove, a bowl, or a can opener. Many people pay attention only to the expiration date, but forget to inspect the packaging. A can without a pull-tab lid becomes inconvenient if the can opener gets left behind. With pouches, look for labels such as vacuum pouch or easy tear, and make sure the sealed edges aren't swollen, torn, or leaking. You can wrap the fish in a tortilla for a compact meal, mix it with beans to add fiber, or eat it with crackers when time is extremely limited. By this point, we have foods that provide calories, fiber, and complete protein. But the final two items are what determine whether the entire system truly works. One delivers a highly concentrated source of energy. The other eliminates almost all of the planning and preparation. Once you see them side by side, it becomes obvious why they earned the top spots on this list. 2. Peanut butter. Imagine you've gone through 2 days with almost no sleep. The stress keeps building, your mind is exhausted, and suddenly even eating a full meal feels like too much. At that point, just 2 tablespoons of peanut butter can provide nearly 200 calories in only a few bites. Peanut butter doesn't contain the most protein, nor is it the most nutritious food in every situation. Its real value is its ability to pack a large number of calories into a very small serving, with no cooking required and ready to eat almost anywhere. 2 tablespoons typically provide about 190 to 200 calories, 7 grams of protein, and 16 grams of fat. A 16-ounce jar can contain more than 2,700 calories, enough to divide into multiple servings when food supplies are limited. That advantage becomes especially important when stress reduces your appetite. Instead of forcing yourself to finish a large meal, you can eat a small amount to give your body the fuel it needs. Peanut butter is quite thick though, so it's best eaten slowly and paired with water, crackers, tortillas, or soft fruit. Many people think of it as just a breakfast food, but it's also a common item in emergency food supplies because it's easy to store, easy to portion, and pairs well with many other foods. Spread it on crackers when you need something quick. Roll it inside a tortilla for an easy meal on the go. Mix it into oats to increase the calories. Eat it with an apple or a banana to make the meal less dry and more balanced. The packaging matters too. Glass jars are heavy, break easily, and aren't ideal if you have to travel. Natural peanut butter often separates, requiring you to stir the oil back in, making it less convenient in low-light conditions or when you don't have utensils. For emergency storage, traditional peanut butter in a PET plastic jar is usually the more practical choice. Choose a moderate size, check the expiration date, and rotate your older jars first. By this point, we have protein, carbohydrates, fat, fiber, and a highly concentrated source of calories. But what happens when you no longer have time to combine foods, divide portions, or even think about what to eat first? The final item on the list was made for exactly that moment. 1. Ready-to-eat emergency meals. Ready meals, MREs. An evacuation warning has just been issued. The power is out, the kitchen is completely dark, and your car has only a few minutes before it has to leave. There's still rice, beans, fish, and plenty of other food on the shelf, but none of it can turn itself into a complete meal. At that moment, the question is no longer how much food you have. It's what you can eat right now. A ready meal solves that problem with one simple step. Tear open the package and eat. It's not the tastiest option, and it's not the cheapest. Its real value is that it combines carbohydrates, protein, and fat into one complete meal. Instead of choosing and putting together multiple ingredients, you simply open a meal that's already prepared. Depending on the product and serving size, each meal can provide anywhere from about 500 to 200 calories. Many varieties have a shelf life of 3 to 5 years when stored in a cool, dry place away from constant temperature changes. But its greatest advantage isn't listed on the nutrition label. After hours of looking for shelter, checking on family members, following emergency alerts, and dealing with unexpected situations, your brain begins to wear down. At that point, even a simple question like, "What should I eat now?" can become another burden. A ready meal answers that question before it ever comes up. This isn't something meant for everyday use. It's a backup plan for the moments when you have to leave in a hurry, don't have the right equipment, have limited water, or simply don't have the energy to prepare a normal meal. A common mistake is buying MREs with self-heating packs and assuming the meal can't be used without water. In reality, many of them can still be eaten at room temperature. The heater simply makes the meal more enjoyable. It isn't always required. Look for products labeled "ready to eat" or "eat straight from the pouch." Check that the packaging is fully sealed, with no swelling, punctures, or leaks. The first 10 foods help you build a complete emergency food system. The final one makes sure your most basic need is still met when that system can no longer function. Now, you may no longer look at your emergency food supply by how much it holds, but by one simple question. When things don't go as planned, which foods will still help keep your family going? Being prepared isn't about filling every shelf. It's about choosing the right foods. Foods that are practical, easy to use, and each serve a clear purpose. Not to live in fear, but so that when a difficult day comes, you can calmly open the pantry and know exactly what to reach for. If you could keep only 3 items from today's list, which ones would you choose? And what's one food your family always keeps on hand that this video didn't mention? Share your thoughts in the comments so everyone can learn from each other.